Alright folks, we're diving back into Magic the Gathering, and today we're going to do the special event, Ravnica at War, Momir. This is a pretty interesting event. There is no deck required for it. You get a specially made deck that has all 36 planeswalkers inside of it and an assortment of basic lands. We also have access to the Factory of Momir Vig. We can spend X amount of mana and discard a card to create a token that is a copy of a random creature card with converted mana cost X. We can activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery and only once per turn. So we're relying very heavily on the randomness of drawing into good planeswalkers and hopefully the Factory of Momir Vig providing us with some interesting and powerful creatures. It's strange, it's quirky, it's kooky, but it's kind of cool. So let's get started and see if we can make some magic happen. No pun intended. Alright, we've got an interesting opening hand, and I suppose I'm going to keep it. I don't know what any of these planeswalkers do, actually, but what's cool about Momir in this game mode is that it's a grab bag. You just kind of keep what you get, and you go with the flow. So I'm going to start off real simple. I'm going to spend the mana, and then I'm going to summon a creature at random. Now, in order to do that, obviously I have to discard a card. And this planeswalker seems like it's going to give me the least value. It causes my creatures to deal combat damage equal to their toughness instead of their power, so their defense instead of their attack, and I can spend some of their loyalty charges to regain health, which hopefully I won't regret, but for now that feels like an okay decision. We got a decent card on the battlefield. It's not great, but you know, it's a stalemate early on. It's weird. It's such a weird game mode. It just kind of puts you in this place where you can't really employ strategies the way you typically do when you build your own deck. I mean, this is kind of cool. Creatures you control have haste. That seems like it could be something very valuable when I'm summoning creatures at random. Now, what does this guy do? When Fairy Duelist enters the battlefield, target creature gets -2/-0 until end of turn. Sure, we'll apply that and then we'll go for an attack. See, but this is exactly what I'm saying. I had no idea that this was going to happen, and this gave me a 1 health advantage. It's not a huge advantage, but it's interesting, and I like it for that reason. There's obviously a lot of frustration that could come from a game mode that takes the normal randomness that is associated with Magic the Gathering and turns it up to 1,000,000. But we'll see how this goes. I'm just going to go ahead and block to get rid of that creature and avoid taking the damage. I want to keep the health advantage for as long as I can. As I mentioned this, or I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in a previous Magic the Gathering video, but one of the most frustrating things about this game, whether you're playing it in Magic the Gathering Arena or playing it in person, in real life, is not drawing the right cards that you know you have access to. It can drive you insane. And you know, I'm not even gonna read half these cards. I'm just gonna I'm going with the flow a little bit, because I have an idea of what I want to do, and I'm gonna try to execute on that as best as I can. So what I want to try to do is get this card out that gives all of my creatures haste, and then continually using the loyalty ability to buff them. So we'll see how this plays out, and I'm willing to sacrifice other cool cards to do so. Whenever one or more loyalty counters are removed from Chandra Fire Artisan, she deals that much damage to target opponent or planeswalker. Maybe I should have kept that. I don't know. It's interesting. That seemed like a powerful investment that I could have made, but I've already got a strategy in my mind that I want to execute on, so I guess it's okay. So we're going to get our first planeswalker out on the field. Creatures I control now have haste, and I can go ahead and spend one of those loyalty charges to get that +2/+1. I get to scry the top. I'm going to keep that mana at the top because I'm running a little bit low. And unfortunately, I can't do anything with my factory this turn because I don't have any mana left. But I can go for a nice juicy attack of 4 damage. I didn't even realize whenever Howling Golem attacks, each player draws a card. That's pretty neutral. Oh, here we go. We've got a big bad guy on the field. As long as it's your turn, creatures and planeswalkers you control have lifelink. And he can gain 2 charges to deal damage to a player or a planeswalker. That's nice. Nice. I can respect that. Okay, we're seeing some fancy stuff going on here, but I've also got some fancy stuff that I can do as well. We're gonna bring Ajani the Great-Hearted out, and we're going to use his -2 ability, which will put +1/+1 counters on all of my creatures to beef them up a little bit. And I do have 1 mana remaining, and I'm gonna use it on the factory. Let's see what we get. I'm gonna have to discard a land, which is always a little bit uncomfortable. But it's okay. So I've got this 3/4. And you know what? I'm gonna go after one of these planeswalkers, because I did a game once with in this game mode, and my opponent had so many planeswalkers on the field that I couldn't see them all. He had like 12, and it was kind of bad. So we'll see how this plays out. You know, I made a misplay, actually. I should have used my Momir ability first and then activated Ajani to give all of my creatures counters. That was a bit of a misplay, but that's okay. When you go with the flow, mistakes are bound to happen. But something like this is a cool way to test your ability to think on the fly in this game. Because when you go in with a pre-constructed deck, you know what your basic strategy is. So it's a lot easier to, you know, to work with what you get. Because it's like, oh, I drew that card that I put in the deck, and I know what to expect here. This is very nice. And, you know, I didn't think the Kiora Behemoth Beckoner was going to be incredibly valuable, but because my opponent's using the -1 ability to untap this creature, he has very strong defenses, and that's making it difficult for me to apply any kind of pressure to him. But I guess I could. Let's use this guy to do that, and we'll tap that creature. Then we'll spend the rest of our mana on our Momir. How much do I have to? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pay. Yes. Now, I've been drawing into a lot of lands, so I feel a little bit better about sacrificing, and I'm running out of time, so let's hurry this up. And now we attack. Like that. No. Let's go after the Behemoth Slayer, because that's kind of problematic. Oh, I could have attacked with the Dread Malkin? Because it has Menace. Oh my gosh, the misplays are all over the place right now. This feels bad, but it feels good at the same time. This is cool. I gotta focus up now. I've gotta, because I want to win this. I've only won a single game of this game mode so far, and I feel like I could potentially make something good happen here. So
your bones will read as omens. Knowledge is not without price.
okay, destroy target creature. Its controller draws 2 cards. Whenever an opponent draws cards, he deals damage equal to the number of cards that are drawn. Well, this is getting weird. Okay, I'm gonna summon this Planeswalker. Whenever I summon another non-creature spell, I get a 1/1 artifact token. So I'm gonna go ahead and call this out. The Wanderer. This is an interesting ability, so I've got a little bit of a battlefield presence now, but the Wanderer, prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt. That's not going to apply. But exile target creature with power 4 or greater, that could be nice. So let's go to the next turn, or go to the combat phase rather, and let's go for this guy. We need to get him off the field because he has the ability to destroy our creatures. So with that eliminated, I feel a little bit better. Now the secondary effect on the Sublime Artificer is target artifact you control becomes a copy of another target artifact or creature you control until end of turn, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. Oh, and by the way, this is going to die next turn as well because of the Wanderer. So what I'm going to do is when I go for an attack, I'm going to make a copy of my strongest creature. And then we kind of get a 1-2 punch out of that.
I find your attacks unoffensive.
Maybe not. Forgot about this guy. Dove in Hand of Control. He's going to continue to mitigate my strongest creature every turn. Oh my gosh, I don't think I can win this. I think it's game over. I don't know. There's too much on the field. I don't know what to do. I mean, I have a lot of creatures now. This was am I gonna die next turn though? Or am I gonna survive with one? Am I dead? I feel like I'm dead. Okay, so all right, that was a hot mess. That was a completely hot mess. But it's okay. We're gonna try that again. And I'm not gonna make so many misplays this time. Maybe. Okay, I've got 3 green planeswalkers and 2 green forest planeswalkers and 2 forest mana. This feels like a hand that could work out. Though Vivian, Champion of the Wilds, is not very valuable. So I'm gonna use her as my first discard when I activate Factory of Momir. This is okay. I've formulated kind of a plan in my head. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I'm gonna try it out. Okay, so this creature that's out on the field has Menace, so even if I were to use my Factory to summon something, I wouldn't be able to block it. Creatures with Menace can only be blocked by 2 or more, have to be blocked by 2 or more creatures. So I'm going to stick to my original plan. I'm going to summon something on turn 2. Turn 3, we bring out the Wildcrafter, give a token, and see how it works. Alright, and we're drawing into a lot of mana, so that feels pretty nice. Alright, so let's go ahead and use our Factory. I'm going to discard Vivian, the Champion of the Wilds, because her effect doesn't really work that well in this game mode. And I got a Relentless Raptor. It's got Vigilance. Relentless Raptor attacks or blocks each combat if able. Now, my opponent has a Planeswalker on the field. Tybalt, Rakish Instigator. He gets to, what does he get to do? He gets to use 2 charges to create a 1/1 Devil Creature token with when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. That's a little bit annoying, but we'll deal with it. We'll summon the Wildcrafter, and we use his ability to put a token on him. Now, what I could do that's kind of interesting is use my Relentless Raptor as a mana. And you know what? I think I'm going to do that just for fun. And I'm going to use the Factory. I'm going to discard a Plains this turn. And now I've got another creature. Now I've got a Defender. That's kind of nice. Okay, whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on Jace's projection. Put a loyalty counter on target Jace Planeswalker. That's interesting. The second effect is most likely not going to come into play, but that's okay. Unfortunately, I can't deal with the Fire Shrine Keeper because of that Menace effect. Does he want to go for the Planeswalker, though? That's the question. No, he wants to continue poking down my face. Okay, I'm going to bring out a Swamp. I'm going to activate that Planeswalker ability again. And I really shouldn't risk it for the biscuit like this, but I'm going to summon my Planeswalker. Nissa. She's coming out onto the battlefield. Her effect is very interesting. I can use her effect to turn one of my lands into a freaking creature. And that's super weird. But it's kind of cool at the same time. And you know what? It's time for us to get on the offensive. So let's move into the combat phase and get to attacking. I'm going to go for Tybalt because he's annoying. and the forest is going to attack my opponent's face. That's probably dangerous, right? To attack with a mana? Because if it dies, then I've just basically condemned my forest to death. Well, alright. Let's, it is what it is. Yeah, that seems super dangerous. That was a cool play, though. Oh! Wait a minute. Can I do that? I can do that. I can sacrifice my Resolute Watchdog to make my raptor indestructible. Haha! And you know what? I can use my emblem again because my mega forest that can run around killing stuff is still a forest. This is so weird. Oh, here we go. We're gonna see some big plays coming out now. He's using 5 mana on the factory, so that could have been dangerous, but at the beginning of each end step, if you gained life this turn, create a 1/1 bat creature token with flying. That's not a big deal. Okay, let's bring out a mana, and I'm gonna use Nissa again to turn another one of my lands into a creature. Then I'm going to beef up my raptor even more. Put a 1/1 counter on it. And then I will use 3 mana. And I got a decent creature. And of course my raptor has to attack, because it attacks each turn if it's able. And also my mana can attack as well. Nissa is totally winning me the game right now, and honestly, this card is very cool. I like the way this functions. I might have to cross my fingers and hope I get that in the booster pack in the future. But this seems very risky, though. I don't know how valid turning mana into creatures would be in a normal game, because with all the removal spells, people would just be blowing up my mana left and right. I don't know if I would really want that to happen. But, you know, another cool thing about this game mode is that it's opening my eyes to other potential combos that I would have never thought about otherwise. Okay, so that worked out pretty well. He did concede in the end. I made a misplay there by clicking the wrong button, but in the end, we had a pretty powerful board. And the advantage was very clearly on our side, because I was going to summon another land with Nissa, turn it into a 3/3, then attack with way more creatures than he could possibly handle. And yeah, I think we were good. I think it was safe to say that we had that one in the bag. But this is pretty cool, so I'm going to continue playing around with this game mode with Momir. And you guys let me know if you enjoyed this. But even if you didn't, there's still going to be plenty more Magic the Gathering coming. There's a new deck that I've been working on. It's a lot of fun. It's interesting. It's weird. It's quirky, but it also seems like it's powerful. So, you know, you guys can, of course, be the judge of that. Let me know in the comments if you like all the decks that I'm playing with and the strategies that I'm employing. But in any case, as always, the name of the game is Magic the Gathering Arena. The name of the channel is iBluairJgR. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.